who has just gotten back in her door and should be on shortly. So, we are going to be playing through Out of the Abyss, which is published by Green Ronin, Green Ronin, and licensed with Wizards of the Coast as an official Dungeons & Dragons product. It is part of the current Dungeons & Dragons campaign season called Rage of Demons. And as you can see, it is, that's about demons. And the Underdark. So, hooray. Alright, so what I'm going to ask is that first Doug give an introduction to Gendrick Mori.
I'm Doug. I'll be playing Gendrick Mori. He's a young man, very, very arrogant in his abilities. Pretty confident he can perform any task set before him. He was the strong-arm, shadowy helper man to a mad wizard in the ruins of Neverwinter for a while. But when the guards came calling and the wizard messed up the spell in response to it, I made my escape before I was eaten alive by beasties and accidentally ended up in the Underdark with a misuse of a teleportation circle.
Where you were captured by Drow, presumably.
Yes, captured by Drow.
Alright, we're going to move on to Brittany, who please give us an introduction to Bria.
Okay. You all can hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Fantastic.
And so can the audience.
Also fantastic. So I am a half-elf from... That's actually not very important. You all don't need to know that. But I used to be an entertainer.
Now, were you a very good entertainer?
I had a fan.
Any more than one?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Okay. So, what were you doing that got you captured by Drow?
Do I have to answer? It makes me a little teary.
Well, let's assume that the other characters don't necessarily know, but I think the audience would like at least a little something.
Alright. The Drow slaughtered all of my clan, unfortunately.
Well, that is not a fun time. And I suppose that they captured you.
They did.
Alright, so we've got Bria, the half-elf ranger, and we've got Bjorn, who is we've got Gendrick, who was a human fighter warlock. And last, but certainly not least, we have Bjorn playing Gror Ironjaw. So, Bjorn, why don't you tell us a little bit about Gror?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Alright, cool. So, I'm playing Gror Ironjaw. He is a dwarf druid barbarian. Grew up in Gauntlgrim, served as a scout and soldier for the guard. Was kind of known for going into an almost feral rage at times when he'd run into goblins or the likes during his paroles. And at one point when he was part of an escort for a caravan under the Underdark, they got attacked and he got knocked out and captured.
Alright. And of course, the images that you've been seeing are the character portraits that I've helped create with the input of the players. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information about the stream. So this is going to be live streamed weekly on Saturdays at 6:30 Eastern Time, and that's Eastern US time. Also, Doug, you seem to have had your mic drop down, so try and reset if possible. If you subscribe or follow, then the next D20 roll by a player will get advantage. That's a little incentive to try and, get people to follow. Let's see. There are tip jars at the bottom of the feed. if you would like to be generous. And of course, tips are split between the players and the DM. I'm not keeping all of it. We've got dollar and Bitcoin donation links. And yeah, other than that, I think we are ready to start out. I'm going to be starting back on the page we initially were on. This is a page that can help familiarize yourselves with the other prisoners. So, without further ado, let's start, once I turn to the right page, Out of the Abyss, Chapter 1, Prisoners of the Drow. Alright, and by the way, if I drop out or anything, please let me know. Captured by the Drow. You wouldn't wish this fate upon anyone. Yet here you are, locked in a dark cave. The cold, heavy weight of metal tight around your throat and wrists. You are not alone. Other prisoners are trapped in here with you, in an underground outpost far from the light of the sun. Your captors include a cruel drow priestess who calls herself Mistress Ilvara of House Mizrim. And we have a handout to show you Ilvara. So, let me know if you can't see Ilvara at this point. So there we go. That is Ilvara Mizrim, the leader of this outpost. Over the past several days, you've met her several times. She's robed in silken garments and flanked by 2 male drow, one of whom has a massive scars along one side of his face and neck. Mistress Ilvara likes to impress her will with scourge in hand and remind you that your life now belongs to her. Accept your fate, learn to obey, and you may survive, she says. Her words echo in your memory, even as you plot your escape. And by the way, Doug is having little technical difficulties, but I'm sure that he'll get that fixed. So, the first thing that we're going to have to do is see how long has everybody been here. So, if my players could roll a d10, and that will be how many days it has been since you were captured. Alright, there's Bjorn with a... there's Gror with a 9. And also, Bria with a 9. I will roll for Gendrick. And I'm going to roll a d10, not a d20, like I almost typed. 4. Alright, so... Gendrick was kind of tossed in there, you know, about half a 10 day after you guys made it there. And when you guys made it there, there were already quite a number of other prisoners in there, some 11 or so. So, if you could roll a d20, and I will tell you what items you have managed to scrape to yourselves in your captivity. Alright. Alright. So, Bria has found a carnelian gemstone that she has managed to hide on herself. Where, we don't know, since she's essentially just wearing an iron collar and her underwear. But, you know. And Gror has found... Alright. A shard of flint that you can use as a dagger in melee attacks.
Fun.
Yeah. And since we're still having a little bit of trouble with Doug, I will find out what he has found. He has found nothing. Just nothing. Because apparently, as the DM, I just can't roll. Alright, so, keep in mind that Bria has a gemstone. It's not a particularly brilliant carnelian gemstone, but it's a gemstone. That might be useful. Oh, welcome back, Gendrick. We determined that your character has no equipment whatsoever. Sorry.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Alright. So,
And depending if my mic keeps breaking or not, feel free to give me horrible, horrible food poisoning. In and out of consciousness.
I'll keep that in mind. Alright, so, in this slave pen with you is a Darrow, a Quaggoth, 3 Deep Gnomes, a Kuotoa, which is a kind of fish-like person, a Shield Dwarf female,
Yeah.
a small mushroom with 2 legs, another drow, and an orc. So, does anyone want to have any interaction? These are the people who you've been spending most of the time with.
Is there any light?
So, Velkinvelv, which is the name of the outpost you're in, has dim light most places. There's less light in the slave pen, but it's still enough that you're not tripping or anything.
Okay, because I cannot see in the dark.
No, you cannot, being a human.
Do I remember getting captured by Drow?
That's up to you. You can or you can't. So,
Okay. I start scrounging around for a stick or a rock or something I can use as a weapon.
Alright, in the slave pen, there's nothing in particular there. All that's there are some clay pots that are, well, they're used for eliminating your waste, shall we say. And every day, once a day, around midday, although it's hard to tell in the Underdark, it just seems that there's a cycle, and about midway through it, everyone is brought a bowl full of a thin mushroom broth.
How many Drow show up when that happens?
It's not always drow. Sometimes it's a Quaggoth slave, and sometimes it is 1 or 2 drow.
You said there was a mushroom?
Yes, there's a mushroom with 2 legs, and he wanders around. Often, though, he spends time in a corner, kind of shivering.
Can we eat it?
Well, you can try.
Okay.
I mean, it's a creature. It's not just a mushroom growing in the ground. You could also try, I don't know, talking to it.
Since it's shivering, maybe I'll go over and give it a hug.
Okay. So, as you do this, you notice that a somewhat musty smell hits you. It's not unpleasant, but it's kind of like walking into a really dusty room.
Ew.
And suddenly, inside your mind, you hear a quaky, small voice say, "Thank you. I'm Stool."
Oh my god, that's adorable.
What's your name?
Bria?
Oh, I'm scared.
Aw. I'll hold you. It'll be okay.
Thank you. I just want to go home.
Yeah, me too, little guy, me too.
That drow in here with us, he captured me.
It's okay.
Will you help?
Maybe.
Thank you. And then, while there's no obvious physical sign of it, you get the sense in, your mind, where he's now telepathically in contact with you, that he's doing whatever the mushroom equivalent of crying is. So, that's what Bria's up to. Let's go to, Gror. Gror, what are you up to?
So am I led to believe that we are in, like, a large pen altogether, like the 14 of us?
Yes.
Okay. While we're in the pens, we're not bound or anything like that, or are we still kind of, like...
You are... all of you have fetters on. So the fetters bind your hands together, and through a loop on a belt, they connect your feet together. You still have your normal movement, although running is a bit of a problem.
Right.
And you are also chained. You have an iron collar, which can be affixed to anything that needs affixing.
Okay, but I still have a general kind of like free range of movement, right?
Not completely. It's very hard for you to cast. You can't complete any somatic components, although you can make basic attack actions.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
I have Warcaster, which means I can use somatic components when my hands are occupied. Does that mean I can cast spells still?
It does not. What that means is that... So you could cast a spell that does not have a somatic component, but basically you can't have enough freedom of movement with both hands to make the motions, because somatic components often require you to spread your hands and make elaborate motions, but you can't get both of your hands up at the same time, you can't spread them out at the same time. Basically, you're effectively reduced to being able to only use one hand effectively, and that's just not enough for somatic components. So if the spell doesn't have somatic components, then you can cast it. So, Gror, what are you up to?
So,
1 second, we're gonna figure out what
well,
Gror's up to.
That kind of cuts me down for a lot of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You said I've been here for 9 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of general information I would know based on those 9 days?
Well, what have you done to gather the information?
That's a good question. I would assume just general kind of observation of like the general surroundings, layout of where the pen is.
Okay.
I don't speak their language.
Do you speak Elvish?
I don't.
Okay.
Sadly.
So a few of the Drow
So
do
I'm just
speak.
kind of screwed there, but
A few of the Drow do speak Common, so they are able to communicate with you. Also, the people who speak Common inside the pen with you, in addition to the other player characters, are one of the Deep Gnomes, who's been offering people a lot of bets. He seems to like to bet a lot. And also, the Orc knows a few words here and there of Common, but for the most part, he speaks Orcish. In all of your time there, I'll show you the map here. You've been able to find that this is the general layout. So here is, on number 12, is the slave pen. And let me make sure... No, sorry, number 11 is the slave pen. Alright. And across the way at 10 is a guard tower. There's a... You've never been in 12, but the Quaggoths are always going in and out of there. There's a waterfall. There's another... So at 10 is this stalactite that comes down, and part of it's been hollowed out. So it's actually like this hanging tower. 6 through 8 is a similar story, but you've never been in there. This encampment also has some guard towers at 1 and 13. There's a waterfall, which you can hear some of the background noise of right now. Because, you know, as a good DM, I provided background noise. Right. You've also seen that number 2, over here, are barracks for the Drow. You figured out that number 4 are basically barracks for the fancy Drow, the special ones. 3 is a common room that has tables and some food preparation, and sometimes you've been tasked with preparing the food for the day. And there's also a winch at 5 that the Quaggoths use to lower and raise things. So, after that, I'm going to go to Gendrick. What are you up to?
I'm starting to have a plan. How many chamber pots did you say there were?
I didn't say, and I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with there are 5.
I only need 2. That dwarf looks angry.
Oh, so I'm sorry. Which dwarf?
The one who keeps growling at people.
Is that Gror? Is that what I'm getting?
That would probably be me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you and
Safe
Gror want to
bet.
have a quick conversation?
Yeah, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name's Gendrick Mori, and I'm here to break us out. And I look around a little too confidently, and I tell them, wait side by side at the door. When they open it, I'll take them down with the chamber pots. Because those will be more effective than fists in chains.
Will they though?
That's gross, but not necessarily effective.
It certainly is gross. I mean, there's Quaggoth shit in there.
Well,
I
I
think it would just
mean,
make me angry.
metagame-wise, 100% more effective because unarmed attacks do 1 point of damage, period.
And improvised clay
Out of
pots
game
do...
1d4. So that's the improvised weapon.
Alright, so do be aware, though, that when you are fetched for your day's labor, what usually happens is that 2 or 3 Quaggoths come to grab people, and from the guard tower, some 4 or so drow with crossbows, and from experience, you know that their crossbows are poisoned, or, well, the bolts of their crossbows are poisoned, are watching you.
Oh, I didn't realize we were on a work detail thing.
Yeah, so every day you're taken out, and usually what happens is, you know, you're told to do things like empty the chamber pots, scrub the floors, make some food. Sometimes you're just whipped arbitrarily because the drow are like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Still feels like the most effective move here. Because I can't cast spells. And if we try and do anything while we're out there already, they'll just shoot us. At least we have the element of surprise here.
Well, it is also the case that there are a lot of fellow prisoners with you, some of whom might know things, some of whom might know what to do after you escape. So, I think I'm going to go back to Bria, who is the person we haven't been to most recently. So, Bria, what are you thinking?
I say we wait
Wait,
and observe.
is there anyone else you'd like to
Yeah.
talk to? You do speak Undercommon, so you can talk to almost anyone.
What are my options again?
So there's a Darrow, which is a kind of dwarf-like creature. There are 3 different deep gnomes. 2 of them tend to stick together, a male and a female. They tend to only talk to each other. There's another one who has introduced himself as Jimjar, and he seems to be fairly friendly and often offering strange bets, like, I'll bet you get chamber pot detail today, or I'll bet I can't jump and touch the ceiling, or just strange things like that. He's always offering bets. There is a drow who is constantly muttering to himself, mostly in Elvish. There's a strange fish person who, despite all of the various hardships that you're all facing, never seems bothered by anything. He's always calm and collected. There's a Quaggoth, who is a very big, hulking, white-furred humanoid with fangs and claws and very vicious looking. And there is a dwarf female.
So I think I'm going to talk to Jimjar and ask him what all he knows about the situation and outside of where we are.
Oh, well, outside of here, I can tell you that where we ought to go is Blingdenstone. Blingdenstone, and by the way, I'll bet you 20 gold if this is the case, can get us back to the surface. Well, get you back to the surface. I'm perfectly happy to stay in Blingdenstone, but I realize y'all probably want to go to the surface.
Do you know how to get there?
To Blingdenstone?
Yep.
Sure do.
I bet you a gem that you could get us out of here.
A gem, huh?
Or can't get us out of here.
Show me your gem.
Yep. I show him the gem.
Okay. He squints at you. What do I get?
It's authentic.
So I get the gem if I get you out of here.
Mm-hmm.
What do I get if I don't? And how long are we talking here? What's the time frame?
Oh, sorry, he glitched a bit.
I glitched?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, and what's the time frame we're talking about here?
Well, at least getting away from all of these drow.
Oh, so it's just a bet that I get out of here, and then you give me a... That's not a bet, that's a bribe. Come on, make it interesting. I'll tell you what,
All
though.
right.
I do know that I've counted. I've been here for a while. You want to know how many drow there are?
Sure.
19. And
And they're all-
at least a dozen Quaggoths. And guess what?
Uh-huh. What?
Before you got here, there was another person in here. Another deep gnome. She got fed to spiders. Spiders the size you wouldn't even believe.
You.
They were like Rothe. So I'll tell you
Alright.
what. You
Thank
tell me what the bet is later, and then maybe we'll see. Do you want to get out of here, though? Alright, let's go to... Gror. Gror, what are you up to?
Well, I'm currently talking to my human friend here,
Mm-hmm.
the one who approached me. I like his confidence, but I'm not sure it's quite planned out enough.
I don't know much about plans, but I do know about objectives.
Alright, so the orc wanders over to Gror, and he looks at you. And he squints his eyes, although it's hard to tell since they're already a little beady. And he says, "You dwarf?" And he pokes you hard in the chest.
I meet his gaze and I say, "You're a very intelligent orc from what I can tell."
He growls at you. And he says, "Me rot. I in charge." And then he spits at the floor in front of your feet. Any response?
Okay. Yeah, alright, Runt. How long have you been here?
Longer than you. Hard to keep track of time. Underground.
Fair point. What exactly made you the head honcho around here?
Strong.
Okay. I don't doubt that for a second.
Listen, I don't like dwarf. You do what I say, no trouble.
And if I don't?
Find out.
Ooh. Tempting offer. I'd love to find out if I wasn't, restrained such as this to see who's the stronger of us.
Yeah. Alright, let's go back to Doug.
I'm pondering. Not quite sure how I'm going to get out of here, and I do not speak anything but common.
You only speak common?
Yes, sir. I have no intelligence bonus.
That is unfortunate.
I pick 'em how I rolls 'em.
Well, so Jim Jard speaks common. Bria and Gror speak common, and as you've heard, Rot speaks something that approximates common.
He can kind of speak common.
Also, the dwarf, Eldith, I mean, she's a dwarf, so yeah, she speaks common too.
Mm-hmm. I ask her where she got caught from.
And so she says, "Oh, hi, I was caught on a trading caravan into the Underdark from Gauntlgrim."
Huh. So are we close to Gauntlgrim?
Not terribly. It was a fairly far-ranging caravan.
Closer to Gauntlgrim than the surface?
Maybe in a straight line, but that's not really how the Underdark works. It's easy to get lost in here, and even if you're closer in a straight line, it might be faster to go somewhere else. I would love to get back to Gauntlgrim, but I'm not sure exactly how to get there from here.
Do I recognize her as being a part of my caravan?
Would you like to? I'm fine with that.
I mean, I was just curious if that was kind of played into that.
You can be from the same caravan if you think that would be more fun for you.
Nah, I like perfect strangers. We'll stay
Alright.
strangers.
Fair enough. Yeah, this first session, things about like what happened before, I'm pretty open to whatever you guys think is more fun for you and for the audience, of which there's apparently one right now.
Yes.
Nice.
But that's okay.
Nice.
That is okay.
They don't uncuff us when they put us to work, do they?
They do not. In fact, sometimes they chain your collar up to a wall.
Like, what do they have doing?
I'm sorry, you broke up just a little bit there.
What do they have us doing?
Oh, so it varies. Usually it's some kind of menial labor, like stacking boxes, restacking boxes, cleaning out chamber pots, scrubbing floors, cooking food. Sometimes just standing there while you get whipped because drow are dicks.
Cooking food, you say?
Yes, sometimes.
Do they have anyone they usually pick for that, or?
Well, they never seem to They never seem to pick the Kuotoa or the Quaggoth, or Stool, the Myconid, the little mushroom guy. But you now are all surprised to hear this rapping sound on the gates of the slave pen, and you look up, and there are some Quaggoth there, and there's a fairly young-looking, although with elves it's hard to tell, but drow woman, who says, "All right, time for work details." All right. You two dwarfs. She points at Gror and Eldeth. You two get to cook today. Let's see. Human. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Guess what you get to do? Come on, guess it.
Go home. Go home.
It was going to be clean out all of the chamber pots, but now it's just going to be get whipped. Yeah.
Damn it, I thought for sure I was going home.
Yeah, nope, just getting whipped, because you know what? I like you. So we're going to whip you. Don't worry, though, you're valuable.
Shit.
You probably won't die. And if you do,
That's reassuring.
I'll probably have to pay for you. But it might be worth it, depending on how you react. Alright. And, let's see, half-elf. You there?
Yeah?
Well, and then the drow woman switches to Elvish and says, "You were found with a liar, huh?"
Yeah.
Well, looks like Ilvara wants to hear how you do. Better do well.
Alright.
Yeah.
I'll warn you now. It's probably not going to be as good as you think.
Well, you'd better hope it is. Because she's bored. And you know what happens if the music isn't good and she's still bored, don't you?
Bad things.
Yep. Alright, so she also gives various work assignments to everyone else. None of whom are quite as foolish as Gendrick.
They
Right.
can try.
So, let's go with, I think we were on Bria is our next in line. So, Bria, you are taken, and I'm going to switch you over to the map here so everyone can see where they're going. You were brought over to here. Oh, let me shift click here so you can see. Alright, where you see Priestess Ilvara, and she's flanked by her two male attendants, one of which has, you know, half his face covered in, it looks like burn scars or something. And she walks in, and a few minutes later, she walks out with your lyre. It's yours. And she hands it to you and simply says, "Play." So why don't you take a perform check to see how you do? And hey everyone, say hi to Lathy83, or Lath83, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. But currently, he is our most active chat participant.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey there! By the way, if you guys do log into the Twitch stream at twitch.tv/AL18267, you will be able to see the chat window. But, Bria, let's take that performance roll, huh?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Good luck.
Let's see here. Okay.
And just a reminder to the audience, follows or subscribes get people to get players advantaged. So, a 16. Well, surprisingly enough, given your, shall we say, mediocre liar skills, Ilvara is impressed. And she says that, you know what? For surface-dwelling scum, you are adequate.
Thank you.
Don't thank me. You're done for the day. And she snatches back the lyre, unless you try to resist. Would you like to try and resist?
Can I make her an offer?
Well, you can do whatever you want.
As a slave, I will probably be worth a bit more if I can play the lyre any better.
As soon as she looks at you and says, "Well, I'm not the one who's selling you. I'm getting my salary. So, what does this have to do with me?"
You might be paid a bit more for more skillful slaves.
Again, I'm not the one who's getting the money for you. I'm getting my salary.
Alright.
So, you have any more stupid stuff to say, or should I send you back? Or if you'd like, and she pulls out this rod, at the end of which are 3 tentacle-like appendages that are just kind of writhing. And she says, "Or, would you like to meet my rod?"
I'll go back.
Yeah? Go back?
Yeah.
Please?
Please?
Aww. Alright, I'll let you go back. This time. Waste my time again with stupid shit, and you do get to meet my rod.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Okay, ma'am?
There you go. That's better. Alright. Bjorn, what do you think is up
Hi.
with Gror? How's he doing?
I assume he's going to go cook some food.
He is. In fact, there are... Let's see. So, there are 3 drow, and there are also 2 quaggoths in the food room, which is here, where you are with Eldeth. And so, in the kitchen, there's a fire, and there are a number of pots and pans, and you see that most of the food that is available are different kinds of mushrooms, and there's some dried and salted meat.
Okay. And there's, like, you said 3 drow with us as well?
Yes, and a couple of quaggoths.
Okay. Just kind of, like, observing the whole thing?
Yeah, well, so the 3 drow are watching you actively, and,
Right.
sorry, the quaggoth are variously scrubbing things and, you know, arranging the chairs and tables so that they're in nice, neat rows, and basically doing various chores. So while the quaggoths are much more trusted than you are, and they're generally not chained or anything, they are still slaves of the drow.
Okay.
So what would you like to do?
And the dwarf.
Yeah, you're with Eldeth.
Well, okay. I
Now-
go to Eldeth and I say, listen,
What language are you
I
using?
don't know the first thing about. I'll do Dwarven. Because,
Alright.
you know, why not?
Are you going to try and be quiet with this?
No, just general
Okay.
talk and a little friendly banter. I say, look, I have a confession. I don't know the first thing about cooking.
And she says, well,
A little bit of a problem.
alright, it's Underdark slop. There's not that much to it. Basically,
So I should be a natural.
well, I mean, maybe. But Underdark slop usually goes like this. You toss in some dried spores for flavor. You toss in some mushrooms for substance. You boil it, and you serve it with some, well, it's not really bread, but it's the closest they get down here. At which
Sounds
point,
delicious.
at which point, a male drow warrior comes over, and he slaps you, Bjorn. Unless, of course, you try to dodge or something. Would you like to try and dodge?
No, I'll take a little love tap.
Alright, well, it's not enough to actually count as an attack, but it does sting, and he says, no more speaking in Dwarvish for you. If I can't
I
understand
assume he
it...
says it in common.
Yeah, he says it in common. If I can't understand it, I don't want to hear it. At which point, he takes out a bolt from his quiver, and he says, unless, of course, you'd like to take a little nap, but you might not like where you wake up.
You know what? You're probably right. I tell him in common.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Uh,
And I'm probably
yeah,
right.
safe to say.
What? What was that?
I said you're probably right on the mark, sir.
Oh, okay. There we go. So why don't you get
Yeah.
back to cooking?
Why don't I do that, sir?
Yes, yes.
I probably go back to the table,
All right.
fixing up the little spices.
All right. So while you're there, Eldeth whispers to you, you know, it seems like the drow, I think his name is Jorlan, who suffered those disfiguring injuries where he's got half of his face in scars.
Mm.
He used to be Ilvara's favorite, but a different drow. I think Sure? He seems to have replaced him. I don't know. Maybe that's important. Maybe it'll come in handy. But then-
Is that the one who gave me the little love tap?
No, that was just a general Drow warrior. But
Okay.
it's time for Gendrick. Gendrick, guess what you're doing?
Getting whipped.
Yes, you are. It is not pleasant. So, basically, there's a drow who is just hammering away with a whip. And, so eventually you do in fact pass out after dropping to 0 hit points. And, we'll deal with that in a bit. And I'm going to say that it's been about an hour, so let's get a quick 5-minute break for everyone. Let's reconvene, at 7:21.
Boop, boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop.
Alright, well, I hope everyone is still enjoying the stream. It's not quite time for everyone to come back yet. But do remember that there are tip jars at the bottom of the stream page. There are little panels down there. You can tip in US dollars or Bitcoin. If I'm being entirely honest, I somewhat prefer Bitcoin, but I'll take either. The tips do get split between myself and the players. Also, if you follow or subscribe, then the players will get a advantage on whichever roll is next for them. And of course, there will be a little announcement, and I'll show you how that seems. So, I'll get one of these, and yeah, I will announce your name, say thank you for subscribing, all that good stuff. And I'll make sure to give advantage to the next D20 roll that the players take. So, yeah, please subscribe. Also, I have a Facebook page for this campaign and for my DMing in general, which is www.facebook.com/DMTimStreaming, one word. That's www.facebook.com/DMTimStreaming. So there you go. Yeah. I hope everyone is enjoying the stream. I hope my players are enjoying. And, yeah. I'm going to switch back to the landing page. There we go. Landing page. Alright. And, of course, next to act will be Bria. I try to go in a cycle so that I don't neglect anyone. Yeah, so in the meantime, feel free to chat in the chat box, or if you're watching this in the future, in, I don't know, like the year 252525 on YouTube, then I hope you're enjoying it, and there will be future episodes available. Or, of course, if it's the year 252525, there already are future episodes available. In fact, all of them. Because I am long dead, and you are watching this as visitors from the distant future. Hello from the past. So, yeah. And of course, if you get the 25-25-25 illusion, then you are pretty good at getting illusions. So, yeah.
I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
Ah,
Neither did I.
well, that's all right. Is Doug back?
I suppose not.
Oh, and Lathy83, and please correct me if I'm saying that wrong, says hi, future. So, we do have an audience, everybody.
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, so since everyone's here, we might as well continue on, even though technically you do have another minute. But we'll let that go. Alright, so, Bria. You are shoved back into the cage, and slowly various other prisoners return to the cave after their day of hard labor.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to speak to any of them, or anything like that?
I think I'll talk to the stool again and ask him more about where he's from, or she, it, whatever.
Okay. I'm just going to reference my book real quick so that I don't mispronounce anything. Or
Okay.
whatever passes for mispronunciation. It's not like they give you a great pronunciation guide.
Mm-hmm. I'll also ask him what skills he has.
That is not a bad idea. If I can turn this stupid page sticky. Or not sticky, just I can't grab the one page. Alright.
Crashed.
Alright,
boy.
so, there we go. Stool says, well, I'm from Neverlight Grove. It's a great place. It's full of us, my Myconids. We meld, and we farm, and sometimes we hunt, and we grow mushrooms, and it's...
Aren't you a mushroom?
Well, I'm a Myconid. We're like mushrooms. I want to go back.
Right. I bet you do. Sounds like a peaceful life.
If you bring me back, I'm sure that my family will be kind to you. We'll give you food and a place to stay. We'll let you rest. We're very nice.
How far do you live from here?
Well, and then he seems to be thinking while the DM double checks his travel times. Right. Let's see.
And do you happen to live in the direction of whatever that city was that Jim Jar mentioned?
What was it?
It starts with a B.
Oh, is it Bliddenstone?
Yes, that's it.
That sounds about right. Alright. And again, since the DM had shut the page, he has to look back again.
Oh,
I know, right?
rookie mistake, man.
We're
Goddamn pages not staying open by themselves. Pull your own weight pages.
we're not far from there, but we're not very close. It would probably take a month or so of walking.
Oh my.
But not
That
many
is a bit
places.
far.
Most places are pretty far from here. And
Mm.
most people aren't friendly. They're so mean.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Jim Jar seems alright. And Bupido he's friendly, but I don't know.
All right, well, stick close to the people that seem nice, little guy.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'd rather not talk about it.
Oh. Okay. Alright. Grord, what you got?
Hi. I'm still in the kitchen.
At this point, you have managed to boil some mushrooms. Congratulations. And,
Awesome.
yeah. Although, since you're in the Underdark and the air pressure is higher, it takes longer to boil water than it does at the surface. Science.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay. Now that
Well.
now that science is out of the way, you are brought back, and you notice that with you is brought back an unconscious and bleeding Gendrick.
Oh boy. I can't do anything for him, right? Because I cannot do spell casting.
Well,
Sadly.
does Cure Wounds have a somatic component? Let's find out.
I think it's verbal and somatic.
Well, let's find out.
'Cause,
Yes, verbal and somatic.
yeah. That's unfortunate. Sucks to be him.
However, you can take a medicine check and see if you can, heal him or anything.
Kind of just, stuff dirt in the wounds or something.
Well, okay, you can. I'm not sure what you think that would accomplish.
I mean, I personally don't know, but I'm sure Gror would know a little bit more than I would. So let's try that.
Yeah, why don't you take a medicine check, and we'll find out. Okay. So,
I got a 20.
with the 20, you realize that while he's bleeding, he is bleeding at a rate that is not dangerous, and he will recover fully. And you also know that stuffing his wound with dirt is probably worse than doing nothing.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Okay. So, I assume you refrain from further injuring your fellow slave by stuffing his wound with dirt.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright. So, it doesn't take too much longer before Gendrick wakes up. And, Gendrick, would you like to do or say anything now that you are once again conscious after being brutally whipped by the drow?
I wake up, and I look around and I say, I knew that'd tire first. Other than that, no.
Okay.
Because I have 1 hit point. Just gripping on to the consciousness by the edge of my fingernails.
Fair enough. Although, as a fighter, you could use Second Wind.
I could... Where did I put my character sheet?
So Second Wind is 1d10 plus your fighter level of hit points that are restored, which is 1d10 plus 1 for you.
Yeah, guess I'll use that.
Okay.
Get some hit points back. Come on.
See what you got.
Lord.
There you go. So you're now up to 11 hit points.
Nice.
I'm going to update that for you.
Nice.
Which is actually most of your hit points.
It is most of them.
Alright, so, Bria,
Mm-hmm.
the Quaggoth kind of lumbers up to you. And he says in very, very well-pronounced and rather high-class sounding Elvish, excuse me, but do you speak Elvish?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good. The only other one in here who does is that drow Sarith, and he's just so unpleasant.
Is that so?
Yes, it is, in fact. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Prince Darendil. May I have your name?
Yeah.
Oh, Bria. Well, excuse me, don't be put off by my rather uncouth appearance. I'm, in fact, an elf like yours. Well, I guess, like half of yourself. Excuse me, I don't want to be offensive. But you are only half-elf, correct?
Correct. Is that going to be a problem?
Oh, no, it's not a problem. I just wanted to I didn't want to make any assumptions that were untrue. But, I just wanted to introduce myself because you seem like the person who might be able to help.
What?
Well, you see, I've been polymorphed into this just ghastly form, and I'd much prefer to return to my homeland and reclaim the throne that is rightfully mine.
I see. How did you end up here?
Well, first, I was polymorphed. See, I was a prince of Nelrindenvane in the High Forest, and my crown was usurped by an evil wizard, Terrastor, who turned me into this horrible beast. And I fled, being unsurprisingly not accepted by my fellow elves in this form. And I was unfortunately captured by elves. Well, by drow elves. And forced into this squalid pen.
Are you done up here in our room?
That's very unfortunate.
I know.
Hopefully we can get you back home.
Well, I just wanted to say that I am glad to have met another person who shares my noble heritage, to some extent at least. And that if you need me, while this form is... And he looks at his claws, and he says, just terrible. It is very strong.
Can you fight?
Yes, I can. I was trained in fencing.
All right.
Although, I
On the way, we'll
suppose...
make sure you get your sword.
I suppose, and then he kind of touches one of his fangs with his fingers. In the absence of a sword, these might work.
They might do nicely.
Well, yes, if you could get me back home, I would be much obliged. And if I can be unpolymorphed, I'm sure that as the king, I could give you rewards beyond your wildest imagination.
All right. I'll do what I can.
And of course,
In the meantime, keep an eye on those drow near the door.
remember, well past what you can imagine. Alright, and because no player says, yeah, well, I can imagine a lot, none of you are getting inspiration. Because you all missed the Star Wars reference. All of you.
I don't speak Elvish.
Nor do I.
I haven't seen Star Wars in years.
That needs to get fixed.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Alright, so, just so you know, if I make a reference, y'all... oh, goodness, almost dropped my mic, sorry. Y'all better chime in. But anyway, back to Gror.
I'll do my best.
Gror, what are you up to?
Well, now that my human companion is kind of conscious of his surroundings now,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing. I want to go and see that orc Ront again.
Okay.
Talk a little to him.
As you approach him, he turns to you and just kind of snorts and grunts at you.
Traditional orc greeting. I snort back. So, let's put aside the argument of, who's stronger than who. I think the more important thing is...
Correct syntax. Who's stronger than whom?
I mean, I'll take that as my intelligence being an 8, so, whatever.
Did that orc just backsass you? I
A
can't
little
speak
bit,
orc.
but,
Well, he's speaking
I'm
common.
gonna try to restrain for now.
Oh, he's speaking common?
Right.
Oh.
All
Say,
right.
hey, buddy, you keep your fancy book learning to your own self. I'm gonna roll
All right.
intimidate.
Yeah, roll some intimidation.
Wow.
Come on, keyboard. There we go.
That doesn't work. So he goes to slap you. Would you like to just take it, or would you like to try and enter into some kind of combat deal?
Ugh. That's a good question. You know what? If he's slapping me, he's gonna get the rumble down then.
All right,
That's how it goes.
let's roll for initiative.
Oh my goodness, this is fun.
Well, I grab his rules, because, you know.
Important.
Yes, it is important for me to know things like, what's his initiative? Alright.
Should I roll on this just for fun, or is this just like a one-on-one kind of interaction?
So, anyone who would like to participate can roll for initiative, and when they get up, and then be able to participate. And Brittany, we acknowledge that you will be right back. So, whoops, wrong thingy. Goodness. I know how to use this website. Why are you... Oh, that's why. I have the wrong button pressed. Add turn. 3, and... What is Gendrick's initiative?
That'll be 8.
8? Alright, well, you're going to get to go first. So... And, I'm sorry,
definitely
but...
just gonna,
One second. Gror, do you want to roll for initiative, or no?
Yeah, I'm here. I might as well. I'm kind of like in between them, so hard to imagine I wouldn't be involved somehow.
Alright.
And it's just plus the dex for initiative. Boom.
Well, you're going
Yeah.
before Ront, so that's a thing.
Awesome.
nice.
Alright, so first, Gendrick. So you see him rearing back to slap you. So you get to
I'm gonna
react.
go for a double in the solar plexus. Come on, dice.
Well, you do
Give me
hit.
something good. There we
Oh,
go.
I'm sorry. Was that with... You're doing an unarmed attack.
Yeah.
Are you proficient with unarmed attacks?
I don't know. That's a good point.
Generally speaking, you're not, unless you have a feat or a class feature saying that you are.
I'm looking. I don't think I do then.
So then that's
Figured
just...
fighter did.
No, so that's just plus your strength modifier.
Yeah, that'll be a 9 then.
That does not hit.
Okay.
Gror.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be fun. I'm just gonna like body slam, kind of just general grapple him.
Ront?
Yes.
Alright, so that will be a unarmed attack roll.
Okay, we should just strength. Do.
Alright,
19.
you managed to hit him, and so since you're grappling, you're going to take some opposed strength rolls,
Okay.
which for him is okay. So that 15 is for Ront.
And I also need to roll one, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
Just the strength?
Yeah, just a strength modifier.
Okay. Oh, yay.
Alright, so you don't manage to actually grapple him, although you won't have to hit with another attack next time. But he is
Okay.
free to try and slap Gendrick.
Nice.
Let's see. Yeah, unfortunately, Gendrick is able to dodge out of the way.
Nice.
And it's Gendrick's turn again.
Not gonna back off.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
Plus, I am typing
Oh, yeah, sorry.
on my tablet.
So yes, +2 for strength.
Oh yeah, above 10
Much better.
finally.
Alright, that is going to hit. So why don't you take your 1d4 plus... Or sorry, your 1 for unarmed, just unarmed damage.
Yeah, so that'll be 3 damage.
Yep.
What is the crowd doing?
So,
And by crowd, I mean the other inmates.
at this point, Jim Jar is talking to the Darrow in Undercommon, and he seems to be counting out numbers on his hands. From your knowledge of him, there's a fair chance that he's doing something like, I don't know, taking bets.
Sounds like fun.
Outside, however, a group of drow are coming up to the gate, and they have their crossbows leveled, aimed at all three of you.
Okay.
Ugh.
So,
Would interfere with a normal inmate brawl. God.
yeah.
They clearly don't understand prison politics.
Well, they're not interfering yet. In fact, most of them are smiling. They seem to be enjoying the show.
Oh, fun.
They are, however, prepared to just riddle someone with crossbow bolts.
Okay.
So, Gendrick, it's your turn.
I'm also gonna try and grapple that guy. I'm gonna try and put the orc between me and those drow.
Okay.
I wish I could do the up button on this tablet.
Would he get a advantage because I'm also grappling him? Or
You're not technically grappling him, so no.
okay.
Because he's not technically
Gotcha.
restrained at this point.
Okay.
Sorry.
That'll be 13.
Alright, that's a hit. So, you are able to grapple with him. So let's do an opposed strength check.
Go big. Yes.
So, yeah, Ront gets an 18.
Wow, we. Oh,
So,
no.
no. Gror,
Classic.
what do you
I'm
got?
gonna just jump at him again. More grapples.
Makes sense.
As a free action, I'm just gonna shout in Dwarvish at him.
Well, he understands none of that.
Perfect. 11.
So, you fail,
Yeah.
and he's still primarily angry at Gendrick. However, Gendrick isn't as, let's see, well-heeled as you are, Gror. So he's going to try and slap you a bit. Alright, and that's a hit. So you are going to take 4 points of damage as he actually goes for a punch.
Oh, okay. He wants to get real then. I'm good with that.
Gendrick.
Huh. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna hit him.
Alright.
I mean, I don't see hiding going well at all against drow with crossbows. And, I don't think he's gonna forget that we were in the middle of a fight just now. So, if this keyboard on thing would open. There we go.
And I seem to have had something strange happen, so bear with me. Sorry about that, I had a little bit of a glitch. Can you hear me again?
Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there was a little bit of a glitch, but I think we're back now.
Okay, cool.
Although Doug doesn't seem to be, but that'll be okay. Alright, that's a hit. So you deal, let's see, 3 points of damage.
Baby.
There we go. Gror. I'm not sure why you can't hear anyone. Try refreshing, Doug.
He can't.
Not sure what's up with that. Sorry about that. Bjorn? Can you hear me? looks like that Gror says, I can hear you, but I can't talk, and that does look like it's the case. Try going to your settings and resetting, going from I want to broadcast to others and I want to receive from others, go from nothing back to video, back to either voice or video and voice, depending.
Exactly what I was doing.
Alright, good.
That was weird.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's...
why that happened.
I'm not sure either, but it is your turn, so go ahead and...
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Well, third time's the charm, I guess. I'll try to overpower him once more.
Alright. Let's take a strength check.
Oh boy, crit fail.
So not only do you not
Wicked,
overpower him,
yes.
but he, because you critical failed, gets to take
my
another
God.
4 points of damage off you. Not sure what's up with the voice chat.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with his connection right now. Like,
I-
it's 3 times for me now.
I'm guessing it's server side, since it's for all of us. However, Ront is going to attack with an unarmed attack. Gendrick.
Okay. And you said I took another 4, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright, so Gendrick is not doing too well. But it is his turn. So, Gendrick, I don't know if you can hear us, but it's your turn. Or, sorry, I put a C in there where I shouldn't have. And my apologies to the audience. I've not had this problem with Roll20 before. If I continue to have it, I'll look into other options. And of course, I'm having it again. So, my sincere apologies. I don't know what's up with this.
Good lord.
Yeah, not doing well.
Yeah.
So,
Doug just messaged me saying he's trying to reconnect.
alright, I will take an attack forward for him. Oh, wait, no, he's back.
He's back.
So, it's your turn.
Yo,
It's your turn, Gendrick.
nice.
And, again, sincere apologies to the audience. I do not know what is up with this. This has not been my typical experience with Roll20. So. Alright, that is a hit.
Nice. And that'll be 3 damage.
Alright. Alright, so, at this point, it is Gror's turn.
Alright, I'm just mad. I'm just gonna punch him in the mouth.
Fair enough. That's a miss. He dodges just out of the way. So, at this point, Gror, still being pretty angry, decides that since Ront still being pretty angry, decides that since Gror was the one who most recently threw a punch at him, he's going to punch you right back in the mouth, but this time he connects.
Just barely.
At which point, all of you have arrows shot at you.
Ah, yes.
I know, right? Well, bolts, technically, since they're crossbows.
True.
Alright. They don't do very much damage. However, you do all need to take Constitution saves.
The kind of save I was born for. $17.
Wow. And actually, since it's poison, you have advantage, but it doesn't matter much.
Oh, but just for fun. I just want to see.
Of course.
Yeah.
Aw.
17.
Alright, so 11 is not quite good enough. So, Gendrick, you go back unconscious, as does Ront.
Nice.
And the drow, one of the drow says to Gror, step back, or we'll keep shooting, and eventually you'll go down.
I give a good hearty dwarven chuckle and I step back from them.
All right. They speak to each other in Elvish, and you don't understand it, but
Yeah, figures.
all right. So, Brittany is still away. She said that she would be right back. And
Are
yes,
there,
so Latha83 recommends either Vent or TeamSpeak, and if we continue having this problem, I think that will have to be what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, or even just Skype, because, oh, and my friend Becca, who I've known since, well, basically since she was born, is now watching. So say hi to Becca, everyone.
Hey, Becca.
Hey, Becca. Alright, so very glad to have a real-life friend watching. And, actually, you know what? It's been a while, so if you're just tuning in, we are going through Out of the Abyss, which is a Green Ronin published game set in the Forgotten Realms, which was published with a license from Games Workshop as an official Games Workshop product. And this is their first adventure for the Rage of Demons campaign season. And we have Bjorn playing Gror Ironjaw, the dwarf barbarian druid. We have Doug playing Gendrick Mori, the human fighter warlock. And while she's currently absent, and I'm not exactly sure why, but she said she'd be back, we have Brittany playing Bria Galanodel, the half-elf ranger. Everyone's at level 2, and they are currently slaves. So, you know, I forget, it's kind of like radio. Every once in a while you have to say, if you're just tuning in. I know, right?
Yeah.
Should get some airtime for ads, too.
Well, I probably will activate ads on YouTube.
Oh, boy.
But, I mean, you know. Use
Oh,
ad
you're one
blocker,
of
people.
those people.
Okay, don't use ad blocker, people. I say, as someone who would like some money, as someone who watches YouTube, use ad blocker. Alright, so...
As I'm, like, kind of stepping back, is there any way, like, are there any of the fired arrows kind of, like, littering the ground or something like that?
There's one or two. Yeah.
Alright. Is there any way I could, like, kind of conceal it or, like, kick it off to the side for later or something?
Well, the drow are still watching,
Right.
so you couldn't do it secretly.
Okay.
However, the mushroom guy, and he kind of waddles up to you. He's got kind of a penguin thing where, you know, he wanders back and forth. Because if you look at him, his legs are not very long.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes up to you and he kind of bumps into your leg because he's not very big.
Mm-hmm.
He's only about 3 feet tall or so.
It's a big mushroom.
Well, for a mushroom, it's big, but compared to the other prisoners, he's the smallest of them.
True.
Not by a large amount. I mean, the deep gnomes are not much bigger than he is.
Alright. I mean, I'm only 4'2", so...
And Lathe, sleight of hand might work, except that he's currently being carefully observed by the drow. So it's kind of like using a stealth check while directly observed.
Yeah, it's almost like, what's the point?
Yeah. He'd have he'd have disadvantage at it, and they know how many bolts they fired, so... so, I'm sorry, Gror, what were you going to do?
I mean, I was hoping to, like, kind of hide one, but you were saying that the little mushroom stool was coming up to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has kind of bumped into your leg. He doesn't really have arms, so he can't tap you, so this is kind of the closest he gets.
Right. I ask him what he wants.
So he shakes a little bit, and this cloud of kind of brownish spores pours out from under him. And as you smell them, again, they kind of smell vaguely dusty.
Mm-hmm.
And in your mind, you hear, I'm Stool?
Okay, now might not be the best time for introductions.
It's never a good time, but The Kuotoa wanted to talk to you, and I think I can help.
Okay.
Do you want to talk to him?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So he wanders over, and now that he is close to both you and the Kuotoa, the horrible fish person, which by the way is this one, you can hear the Kuotoa's voice in your head, and while it sounds like you might imagine a fish person would sound, you can understand it, although strangely enough, you seem not to be able to quote it directly, because it's kind of this direct mind-to-mind contact. But the gist of it is roughly, I am Shushar, the Awakened, and you are...
I am Gror.
Gror,
the dwarf.
I noticed that you and your friend and that orc were in a bit of an altercation.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun to pass the time, I suppose.
Yes. Well, I have come to the conclusion from my many meditations and my years in solitude that violence is never really the answer. And so I'm here to inform you that perhaps in the future you may want to refrain.
Why is that exactly?
Well, as you saw, the violence just begets more violence.
True, but the begotten violence that we earned from our violence kind of landed us a few of the bolts.
Well, yes, that's what I mean. You were violent, and then the drow were violent, and then the cycle continues.
Mm-hmm. But now we have a few, poison-tipped bolts at our disposal, potentially.
Well, I imagine that the drow will probably reclaim them. They know how many they fired. They're not stupid, you know.
I beg to differ from a dwarven perspective, but
Well, perhaps, but I don't know very many dwarves. In fact, you and this other dwarven woman are, as far as I remember, the only surface dwarves I've ever met.
yeah, you kind of stay away sometimes.
Yes, well, I just wanted you to know that I think that the violence is not a terribly good option. However, I do think we need to escape from here, and if I can help in any way...
Well, tell me, can you help in any way?
Well, I can certainly do things like be a lookout and things like that, and while I don't recommend that you do engage in any violence, I'd certainly not betray you or anything. And if we get out of here, I do know the way to Slugdubog. Slugdubog, yes. It's a Kuotoa village.
Sorry. Okay.
And I'd very much
Right.
like to get there, and it's quite close, as, distances here in the Underdark go.
Meaning, how far away is it?
Oh, I should say we could reach it in less than 2 10 days.
Okay.
And
Tell me if
yeah.
I was just gonna say, if you're offering your services as a lookout, I assume that you kind of, keep watch over the guards and their movements and whatnot.
Well, I certainly try.
Do you know where they might be holding all of my weapons and armor?
Oh. Well, there are only a few options. It's got to be in one of the places where we don't normally go, which are only the barrackses, of which there are 4, or that central spire where the priestesses seem to spend so much time. And also recently Shror. He's been going in there a lot. It used to be the other one, the one with the scars. He used to go in there a lot. But now he doesn't go in there so much anymore.
But now it's Shror.
Yes. The one who doesn't have all the scars. Yes, he and Ilvara spend most of their time in there.
Okay. And what of this rejected drow? Where does he usually hang about?
Well, I mean, he wanders about, and I don't know exactly where he lives, but he seems to spend a whole lot less time there.
Yeah, I think I heard mention of a power struggle between the two.
I don't know if it was a power struggle or what. I do remember that it was not that long ago that he didn't have all those scars, and he did spend a lot of time in that spire.
Hmm. What are the drow doing? Are they still watching us?
So there are still a few guards, and they look kind of bored, but they haven't really done or said anything yet.
Okay.
So I do want to point out now that it has been confirmed that Stool can facilitate conversation between people who do not speak the same language.
That's fun.
So,
Pretty helpful.
Gendrick, after a while, you and Ront wake up, and you are very drowsy, and you have a gigantic headache. It's kind of like you just both drank a fifth of rum or something, and now you're waking up.
You bastard!
Alright. One of the drow points in.
Who knocked me out?
One of the drow guards is still by the door, and he says, "Yeah, that was us, and, bolts, now. Return them." Fletching out.
I look around on the ground for bolts.
So there are the bolts that are still kind of in use, since no one said they were taking them out. And there are also 2 bolts on the ground. Ront takes his bolts out, and he just kind of pulls them out, and he says, "Arr!" each time. And so he pulls out a couple bolts, and he hands them, fletching out, back to the drow.
I'll throw my darts over, but not through the door. Like, they have to come in to get them.
I see. So you're looking for another whipping? One of them says.
Say, I'm so weak from all the poisonings. I can't throw it very well.
Maybe one of your friends can help out. At which point, the Darrow wanders over, grabs them, and hands them over with a bit of a flourish. He's got one of these little... He spins his arms and bows as he hands them over.
Fancy, fancy.
Indeed. And is anyone going to return the 2 that were on the ground? As well as, Gror, you also got a couple that were in you.
I was hoping no one would comment on it.
Yeah, sorry.
I could just get overlooked.
I want to try and stand up, but as I'm doing that, I want to kick dirt onto one of the 2 darts on the ground.
Okay. Well, I mean, you managed that. I'm not sure what you hope to accomplish with it.
I don't want the drow to see it, and then I'm gonna weakly throw the other dart over.
Well, they know how many they shot. So if the number they shot doesn't match the number you give them, they'll know something's up.
Has anyone picked up the ones on the ground yet? I didn't hear.
So, the
The
Darrow took at least 1 and handed it back with a flourish.
Right, but those are the ones that Gendrick threw over.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that were. So, yeah, so there's still the 2 on the ground.
Okay, can I go up to one and, like, try to subtly break off the tip of it with my foot before I pick it up?
Sure.
Okay.
So,
I
why
do
don't
that.
why don't you take a sleight of hand check?
Okay, this should be fun. A dwarf making a sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Big money. Oh, no.
He notices it, and he says, "What are you doing?"
Say, oh, I just didn't see this one. I must have
Yeah,
Feeling a little
hand
groggy
it back.
from the one in the leg. I pick it up. I kind of limp over to him by the gate to hand it back.
Okay.
I
Alright.
present the one in my leg to him,
Alright. So, at this point,
and I say, "You said Fletching first."
yes. So, I'm assuming now all of the arrow or bolts have gone back?
Yep.
Okay. So, now that you know that Stool can facilitate communication, is there anyone else you'd like to talk to?
Did the drow leave?
Well, so the drow have left. However, there is still the guard tower with windows facing you. So they're no longer in earshot, but... I know, right?
How far away is this guard tower?
That is a good question. I'm going to check. It is about 10 feet away.
The guard tower is 10 feet? That
Away.
is close.
It is close.
10 feet. Wow.
I can literally jump that.
Can you, though?
It's,
Yeah, you can jump your strength score in feet as a movement action. I could more than jump that.
yeah,
in real
same,
life, I could
totally-
even jump that.
Yeah.
Of course, connecting it...
Talk to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
He wasn't dumb enough to give them all of the things he picked up, right? Because he looks crafty and
Who?
quick.
I don't know who he is in this context.
The deep gnome I said I was talking to,
Jimjar?
who handed back the...
No, it was the
Yeah.
Darrow who handed them back. So
Oh.
yeah, so this
That one,
this
then.
right here is Jimjar, the deep gnome, and this is the one who handed back the bolts.
Yeah, that guy. Because, if anyone's gonna get these cuffs off me, it's probably that guy.
Okay.
He looks sneaky enough to try and pull it off.
So you want to go talk to him?
Yeah.
All right. So Stool goes over and he establishes, some telepathic communication between all three of you. He introduces himself, and then go talk to the Darrow, who says, "Oh, well, hello, is it human? Human?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, we don't get very
That's
many
right.
humans, but I'm Bupido. And I'm from.
I'm Gendrick.
Oh, well, hello, Gendrick. Nice to meet you. I'm from Gracklstool. Where are you from?
The surface.
Oh, well, yes, I gathered that. Anywhere in particular?
Kind of near Neverwinter.
Ah,
If you know where Neverwinter is.
vaguely. I've never been to the surface myself. Is it nice?
I didn't think you would have. I've never been down here.
Well, yes, most humans don't make it
Turned out
down here.
horribly.
Well, that's the Underdark for you. What is the surface like? Is it nice? Is the surface?
I
Is
did
it
not hear
nice?
it. Oh, way nicer than this.
Oh, I
For
hear
one,
it's.
there aren't any drow.
I hear it's terribly bright.
It is, but it gets dark about half the time.
Oh, well, that sounds half nice. But anyway, is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah. I bet these cuffs aren't much of a predicament for you, are they?
Well, I mean, they're not easy to get out of, but I could certainly try. Would you like to help?
Yes. This is the first step in many series of steps, which could be misconstrued as a plan.
I see. Well, let's see how we do then, shall we? So, you and he try to slip his cuffs.
Am I rolling anything?
Nope, he is.
Wait, to slip Bupido's cuffs or to slip Gendrick's cuffs?
Well, Bupido's trying to slip his cuffs, but he fails. So he offers, well, I can't seem to get it, but would you like me to help you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Alright, you get advantage on the roll, so that will be 2d20k1 plus whatever your dexterity modifier is. Which is 1. Nope.
Nice. 16.
Alright, let's go back to Gror. Gror, is there anything you'd like to do? Anyone you'd like to talk to? So, there are still... No one has yet to encounter the two gnomes who are keeping to themselves, nor has anyone talked to the drow that's in there with you, which is in itself unusual.
I forgot there was a drow in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go talk to the drow, I suppose.
Alright, so bringing Stool with you, who, by the way, is not very happy to be talking to the drow. And before he establishes contact with the drow...
I'm not happy about it either.
Before he establishes contact with the drow, he says, he's the reason I'm in here. I don't like him.
Please explain that.
Well, he used to be one of them. And when you hear them, you kind of understand that he means the drow who are running Velkenvelth.
Mm-hmm.
But he ended up in here one day. I don't know why. But he's the one that captured me.
Wow, how long ago was that?
Well, it seems like it was maybe, I don't know, 20 cycles ago?
20 cycles. Okay. Well, nonetheless, we're going to talk to him.
Alright. So, when the telepathic connection is established, you hear Sereth is... when he's not actively talking to you, he's always mumbling in his own mind things like, they're setting me up. I know it. It's a trap. And then every once in a while he says something like, but what if it's not? What if it's all true? But yeah, time to ask him questions.
Okay. I say, it's a little interesting that a drow would be amongst the prisoners here.
Yeah, well, I've been falsely accused of murder.
Murdering who?
Some fellow drow warriors.
What happened?
Well, I don't exactly know. I just know that I woke up, and in front of me, two of my fellow drow warriors were dead. So I've been stuffed in here.
You woke up and they were dead.
Yes, I don't remember what happened before that. But I can guarantee it wasn't me. They must have poisoned me or something. And then framed me for the murder.
Who's they?
Whoever's trying to set me up.
I mean, excuse me for being skeptical, but it's a little unusual to sleep through a double homicide.
Not if you're poisoned. And you know that the drow have poisons. Stupid surface dweller.
But little effect on me so far.
Yeah, well, dwarves are notoriously resistant to poison, so, you know, go enjoy that, I guess.
Yeah, we're pretty great.
Yeah.
I plan to. I mean, do you have any proof or indication that you were poisoned?
Well, I mean, I certainly didn't do this.
Right. Okay. I mean, I don't know about you, but that would kind of make me a little, spiteful.
Of course I'm
A little
spiteful.
vengeful.
And, of course, when they sent me in here, guess what they said? Am I being sold into slavery? No. I'm supposed to be a damn sacrifice to Lolth.
To who?
Lolth. What are you, some kind of idiot? Is that a yes?
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of that.
I said, Lolth, are you some kind of idiot?
I mean, potentially. Who is Lolth?
He shakes his head at you and says, Lolth is the demon queen of spiders. She's the chief goddess of all drow.
And, being a drow myself, I would know that.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, there was also talk about, I keep hearing talk about, sold as slaves, exactly.
Yeah,
who are we being sold to?
So, this outpost provides slaves for Menzoberranzan. And Menzoberranzan provides supplies. But the shipment is over a 10-day late. And I don't know why.
The shipment is what? I'm sorry?
The shipment is over a 10-day late.
Ooh. That's a little, problematic.
Well, it is for the drow, or the other drow. For me, it's
Yeah.
it's a reprieve from my impending execution.
Not true. So I would assume you'd kind of want to, get out of here a little bit before that shipment
Absolutely.
comes up. Yeah, wouldn't we
fact,
all?
If I can get out of here without before the shipment, I can get ahead of the message to Menzoberranzan, and I might be able to blend in. I mean, sure, I'd essentially be a houseless outcast for at least a while, but it's better than being eaten by a spider.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that one.
Yeah, so, I would love to get out of here. Is there a plan?
I mean, being one of the guards, I'd assume that you would know kind of the layout of the whole area.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to know?
I have a lot of questions about that, actually. I'm sure we could talk a lot.
All right, now, one second. Gendrick, do you want to get in on this at all?
Am I still in Manacles?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
By get in on this, I mean in on the conversation.
Yeah, I get that. Nah, he hasn't said anything to really get me interested.
All right,
Still
Gror.
trying to fiddle with my handcuffs.
Gror, let's continue with your
Yeah.
questioning. What other questions do you have?
Okay. Well, first off, how many drow are there here?
19, unless someone's died that I haven't heard about.
Okay. Where's my stuff being held? Or our stuff being held?
So I don't know for sure, but I suspect the Priestess Elvara has it. Her
Okay,
chamber.
who
Her chamber is in that big stalactite that they never let us slaves in.
Well, I would assume so, because that's her stalactite. Yeah. I would want her in my prison. This is my prison. Are there any of the drow who you're kind of like friendly with, who might, believe your side of the story?
You haven't met too many drow, have you?
No, I really haven't. Mostly goblins.
Yeah.
We don't really meet for very long.
Yeah, we don't really have too many friends, if you will.
I could imagine being framed for murder. and all.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do they have a reason to frame you?
They probably just wanted to get rid of me because I'm obviously the most talented of the warriors here.
Oh, obviously, of course. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Being in prison and all. I imagine you put up quite a fight when they took you in.
Well, I tried, but, there's only so much one man can do against a whole host of crossbow bolts.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Alright, so there's another
Drow.
there's another banging on the gate. And this time it's Jor, the one who has the scars all across his face. And he says, "Alright,
Ah,
food time." And he announces that in both Undercommon and Common.
fun.
I slowly walk over for food.
Okay. As you do, he leans in and he says, "Hey, human."
Yeah.
He beckons with one of his fingers on his good hand, because as you get closer, you notice one of his hands is curled and claw-like, and the flesh is kind of webbed over together with more scars.
Oof. I walk up to him. I ask him what he wants.
He says, "Hey, what would you think if I could get you out of here?"
I'd ask if it entails more whipping.
Well, not unless you
I have to pass.
not unless you want it to.
No, that's fine. I can go without it.
So, tell you what. Next time I can. Next time I can, I'll be arranged to be the next one who releases you for work duty. Don't try anything then, you'll be under too heavy surveillance. But, when you come back, I'll make sure that the door is unlocked.
Nice.
What do you think?
What's in it for you?
What's in it for me is that bitch Ilvara needs to be taken down a peg or two. And if I can do it by help with a slave escape, then that's good enough for me. But you say a word to any of the drow, and I will kill you.
And he'll what?
Kill you.
Do you happen to know that drow back there? I subtly hook a thumb to the guy in the cage with us.
Ugh. Sereth.
Yeah, he said he was gonna try and kill you.
Yeah, well, I doubt that'll happen. But if he does, I'd sure appreciate you preventing it. And, on the other hand, if he doesn't make it out of here, it wouldn't be the worst eventuality.
I was suggesting that maybe if, in our escape, we split up and he took a way that perhaps led him directly into the drow guards to keep them occupied, it might be
Look,
more helpful.
I don't care what you do after you escape. We got a deal?
Yeah.
Alright. Go
Oh, yeah.
tell your compatriots.
Is he talking loud enough for me to hear this?
Are you close enough that you can hear softly spoken words?
I don't know, you tell me.
Well, you
I
can.
went over for food.
You can be. It's fine with me.
I mean, that would be fun.
Then yeah.
I like being included.
Then yes, you are.
Alright. I tell him, well, to take down Ilvara, I wouldn't be able to do that with just, these bound hands here.
He looks at you and says, well, then, if you want to be the one who takes down Ilvara personally, which you won't survive, but hey, be my guest, I don't care if you die, it won't matter much if your hands are bound. So, I can leave the door unlocked. You can take it, or you can leave it. In fact, you know what? I don't really care. I'm probably just going to do it anyway.
Cool.
I like his,
Is it
I like
soup?
his attitude.
I'll take my soup and go.
Alright. So he hands out the soup to everyone else. And by the way, so the only NPCs that you haven't really encountered are the two deep gnomes, one male and one female, who seem to be always hanging out together and not really talking to too many other people.
Speaking of people who aren't talking to any other people, where did our elf go?
So she had a family matter to deal with.
Ah,
Yes, so that is in progress, and she has said that she is still planning to come back. Although, we're probably only going to be here for another half hour or so, otherwise the video will get so long that even YouTube users won't want to watch it.
yeah, true.
So, we may end up not quite getting through to the point where he leaves the door open. Plus, these stupid headphones are starting to make my ears sore.
If it's easier for you, so we've pretty much are up to the point right before we try to escape, right?
Well, there's
Is the door
still...
being unlocked?
So there's still another night to go through.
For her.
There's one more night to go through, and one more work day to go through before he has agreed to let you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there are still at least 2 NPCs that you haven't actually done anything with, in case you want to get to know your other compatriots.
What are they doing?
The 2 gnomes,
Yeah.
they're huddled together, and they are not talking to anyone else, just keeping to themselves.
When the drow leaves, I'll tell them that the door will be unlocked, but if they're not interested in talking, I'm not going to push it.
Well, I'm assuming you go over with Stool so that it can hear you. Or understand you, rather. Is
Yeah.
that- okay. So,
If they don't speak common, yeah.
the female looks up at you and says, yeah, we're interested. What's the plan?
Plan?
Yeah.
No, the door's just going to be unlocked.
It's
That's
just
the plan.
unlocked? Your plan is to just walk out? You gotta have a better plan than
I
that.
mean, I'm going to run.
Which
You
is
can walk, I suppose.
just run? Are we going anywhere? We want to get anything?
I mean, it's probably easier for me because I'm taller, but no, I mean, I might grab some, like a sword off a rack or something, but
What is it, everyone for themselves? Are we
the key
sticking
here is
together?
gonna be speed.
Are we gonna go somewhere? What's the plan?
We're not gonna be in jail. That's the plan.
And then what? We're just gonna be on our own? The drow chasing us? We'll just end up back here or dead. We gotta have a better
get
plan than
caught.
that. Don't get caught isn't a plan, it's a goal. Don't you know what a plan is? Surface dwellers.
Wait, there's a difference?
Of course there's a difference.
You lost me. I'm sorry. The door's gonna be open, Shorty. You can figure it out. I look at the mushroom and I'm like, is there a problem translating? I don't think they're getting it.
Well, he looks back at you and says, well, I think that she's concerned that if everyone just scatters, then the drow will be able to chase us down. Maybe we should have a...
You can't chase all of us.
Well, maybe
That's
not.
That's how the foxes escape. You go fox hunting, they all bolt in different directions. You can't chase them all. Only one goes down.
But where are you gonna go?
Whichever's brightest, probably.
Brightest? We're...
Yeah.
What do you mean, brightest?
You know, not dark.
But we're in the Underdark.
Yeah, so it should be pretty easy to find something that's brighter than the dark, right? I mean,
No.
not that far down.
I don't think you understand. It's not easy to find a pathway to the surface if that's where you're going.
I'll leave that one to the explorers. The dwarves can see in the dark, right?
Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm.
As can...
I was literally asking the mushroom.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, everyone... You're probably the only one who can't.
Then yeah, I'll follow the dwarf.
Which one?
The smelly one.
We're all smelly.
Okay, the one who looks like he may not be a dwarf and may actually be a badger.
I don't know what that means.
You know, he
All right,
sniffing
so...
at things and
Hey.
like
For those of you just tuning in,
scratching at himself.
Brittany is back, and we are playing Out of the Abyss. And since Brittany has been absent, and since someone may be tuning in, you never know. Lathe Act 83, I'll tell you what, why don't you stay online after we're done, and we can talk about this. Lathe 83 has asked if there's room for one other, and I don't know, but there might be. So, yeah, there's that. So, Bria, welcome back.
Thank you.
So, one of the drow came to the door, the one with the scars all over his face, and offered to leave the door unlocked to your slave pen after the next work detail.
Okay.
So now, everyone is talking to the two gnomes who no one has talked to yet. And the one who talked, the female, has said that you guys are crazy for not having a plan. And you've discovered that Stool, the mushroom guy, is able to allow you to communicate with everyone else, even if you don't share a language.
Oh.
Yeah,
nice.
he's like a telepathic conduit.
Cool. Did we talk to Jim Jar and see if he knows a way out of here?
So Jimjar does know how to get to Blingden Stone. The Kuotoa, whose name it turns out is Shushar, knows how to get to Sloopdoop, which is very close, and he says is a place where the Kuotoa may be able to help out, at least with navigation.
Alright.
And Bupido, the Darrow, has claimed to know the way to Gracklstur.
Okay.
So is there anyone you would like to talk to again?
No, not really.
No? Alright, so, what do you guys think you should do after you get out of here? Because scattering does not seem like the best option, since none of you know how to get to the surface. And Gendrick, you are far enough underground that the light is not penetrating at all, so looking for the brightest place is just not going to lead you to the surface.
Oh, I know that as a person. Gendrick has an intelligence of 10 and a wisdom of 9, and is a functioning idiot.
I see.
He legitimately does not make plans, he makes goals. And that's why that conversation wasn't going anywhere with that gnome. He just doesn't want to be in prison, so he's like, once he gets out of prison, he'll think of something else, but until then, he's got a one-track mind.
Alright, does anyone else have any ideas as to what to do? So, a few of your fellow prisoners have mentioned possible intermediate destinations. So, to sum up...
But none of them know how to get to the surface, so we can get to said place.
So, Jimjar knows how to get to Blingden Stone. And I don't believe you've asked him specifically about the surface. Sareth presumably knows how to get to Menzoberranzan, although that's the place where you're headed to be sold as slaves. So, you know. Bupido knows how to get to Gracklstugh, of which you so far know only the name. Shushar knows how to get to Slupdudop, which he says is not only close, but is also a place where the Kuotoa can give some help with navigating. And, also Stool would very much like to get back to Neverlight Grove.
Okay.
But no one knows how to get to my equipment.
So
Well,
I guess
someone
I asked anyone
has...
if they know how to get.
Well, one second. Bria, you do know where at least some of your equipment is. So maybe that's
Where?
something you should mention. Well, Ilvara, when she grabbed your, what do you call it? Your lyre, she went into that stalactite that none of you were allowed to get into, and that from listening in, you happen to know Sareth says is where Ilvara, Shur, and, let me make sure I get all these names right, because, you know. Yes, where Dorlin, Shur, and Ilvara spend most of their time.
Ah.
I'm sorry, Asha, Shur, and Ilvara. Not Jor. Jor used to spend a lot of his time there, but then he got all scarred, and now he doesn't spend much time there anymore.
He has since wandered off, correct?
Who?
The guard.
The guard is... Yeah, Dorlin has wandered off, and you're now... You're still observed from the guard tower, but there's no one actively listening to you.
Okay.
So have I asked if anyone knows how to get to the surface just yet?
You can ask, and so Jimjar says that, oh, you know, the gnomes in Blingdenstone, they know how to get there right fast. They trade with the surface all the time.
Okay.
And of
So
course,
I go ask them.
well, Bupido comes up. He says, oh, well, you know, the Dwergar in Gracklstugh, they might not trade with the surface as much as the gnomes in Blingdenstone, but they're a lot closer. And they make some of the best weapons in the Underdark. So if you want to stock up, Gracklstugh is the place to go.
Alrighty.
But of course, noticing that everyone's talking about places to go, Shushar wanders up and he says, excuse me, may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Well, I don't disagree that Gracklstugh or Blingdenstone or even Neverlight Grove might be a good idea. I do have to point out that to get to any of these places, you'll have to cross a considerable distance on the Dark Lake, and that my people are expert navigators of the Dark Lake, and that in addition, Slupdudop is very close. In fact, it's closer than any of these other locations. So it might be an acceptable stopping over point. And it's where I'd like to get to anyway. I mean, I have to share my new enlightenment with my fellow Kuotoa.
Perhaps we should go there then.
I mean, it's certainly an option. And at which point, the Quaggoth who calls himself Prince Darendil wanders over and he says, I would certainly like to get to the surface, and if this Slupdudop is going to help us, then I would be quite happy to go there. What do you say, chaps?
Doesn't sound like a bad plan.
Oh, well, I don't think so either. I mean, I certainly don't want to spend much time with the Kuo-toa, if it can be avoided. No offense, Shushar. At which point Shushar says, "Oh, no need to ask for forgiveness or anything. I have learned that it is not the circumstances of life, which should be the cause of your sorrow or joy. Instead, it is how you decide to react to them. Yes, you see, if you were, say, an eel hooked to a line, being dragged by a boat, you could resist and have a terrible time, and it would go terribly for you. But you'd be dragged by the boat nevertheless, and you'd get where the boat was going. Or you could simply swim along, and then you'd still end up where the boat is going, but you have a much better time of it." And Prince Darendil, although it's hard to read his expressions, seems to have this kind of confused, like, what are you talking about look.
I think I share that look.
Okay.
He's basically telling us to walk happily to our deaths.
Oh, that's not necessarily. I'm not saying that if there's something to be done to change your circumstances that you can't try it. But in whatever circumstances you are in, it's up to you how those circumstances affect your happiness. I, for one, am perfectly at peace with the situation, although I try to remedy it if I thought I could. Which, by the way, it seems like might actually be happening.
I'll leave this decision up to the group.
Well, Bupido comes over and he says, "Alright, look, friends, I'm perfectly happy to go to Sloobledop?" At which point Shushar nods and says, "Yes, that's alright, that's right." And he says, "So, what's our plan for when we get let go? We might be able to sneak past. I mean, I doubt the drow in the guard tower are terribly observant. And if we can open the door quietly, we might just be able to sneak out."
Right, but to survive for any kind of extended period of time in the Underdark, being potentially hunted by drow, we need two things first, which is one, to not be bound with these fetters, and two, for our equipment to better defend ourselves.
Well, Ront comes up and he says, "Dwarf! Listen.
Orc.
Listen. We can't get out one at a time. We stick together until the surface. We're not friends, but we stick together. We all get out alive, or at least," and he looks kind of dismissively at some of the gnomes and stool, "at least not all of us die. We help each other, I promise. No killing till surface."
That sounds like a pretty good promise to me.
Alright, he spits in his hand and offers it to you for a handshake.
I don't want to, but I will.
Okay. So you shake the orc spitty hand.
I just kind of pat him on the shoulder and, like, nonchalantly
He kind of shrugs his shoulder. He doesn't seem very happy
wipe
about
it
it.
off a little bit.
He shrugs his shoulder, and he's not very happy to have you further touching him. He doesn't actually like you. However, you've, to some extent, earned his respect.
Huzzah.
I know, right?
Because I took a bunch of poison when he passed out. Coward. Anyways, so findings are a problem, and these need to not be on us. I've heard a lot of talk about, what we can do for for everyone else if we bring them there and stuff. But what exactly can you all do for us? Like, you know,
Who are you speaking to specifically?
I'm speaking to whoever is within earshot. Like, there's been a lot of like, oh, if you help me, we'll take you there. But it's like, okay, but in the meantime, how can you help me to achieve this goal?
Well,
I
the
think
deep
like Shushar is nearby and like Ront's nearby.
right. So the deep gnome comes up and says, "Hey, me and my brother,
Hey.
we're what you might call sneaky." At which point Jim Jar comes up and says, "Sneaky! I'll bet you 10 gold pieces that I'm a better sneak than you are." At which
Oh
point
boy.
the female gnome, who by the way no one's asked her name, looks at him and
What
just
is
kind
your
of an annoyed fashion and doesn't say anything.
Jim Jar seems to like to bet when he has no money to bet.
Is that something that you say to him, or is that just a side comment?
I'll say it to him. Why not?
Alright. He says, "Hey, I've got a really good memory. I'll collect. Or, I'll pay out. Jim Jar is not a squelch." Also, Jim Jar doesn't
Okay.
normally refer to himself in the third person, but he is today, for some reason.
It is what it is.
Seems like a
I
good
guess
day
it's better
for
than
it.
him. It's better than him saying Misa and Yusa.
Okay, none of that. None of that. None of that.
Sorry, I love Jar Jar.
No, you do not love Jar Jar. Take it back.
I could go on and on.
Alright, but we're not going
I
to.
digress.
Yes.
No. Well, I would love to see of the three of you who's the better sneak. But you know,
Well, where are we
I
going to
think
sneak?
a good way to judge it is
So the male gnome, who doesn't really say much to anyone, mumbles something towards the female gnome, deep gnome. And she looks up and she says, "So, Turvey says, where do you want us to sneak to?" Any
You
ideas?
get in that tower.
Which one?
The one that's right there, and
So-
I point to the one that's 10 feet away from us.
Well, probably, but other than guards, what's in there? And by the way, I've switched you to the map, so you can
Our stuff.
remember if you hold click.
no, our stuff is in the giant stalactite or stalagmite.
So if you hold click, you can select areas on the map. So yeah, we can sneak there. Although other than sneaking in and past the guards, what else do you want us to do?
Well, it being an outpost or like a watchtower thing, I'd assume they'd have, you know, keys or something like that.
Ah, you want us to steal a key, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Hmm. Well, we could certainly try. Then Jim Jar comes up and
Yeah,
says,
that'd be good.
"I'll bet you 5 gold pieces I'm the one who comes with the key."
Whichever one of you
Look at
comes
the
back
man.
with the key to our manacles, I'll make sure it lives.
Key to the manacles? Yeah. But I don't think you could take all of us. And us deep gnomes stick together, right? And he puts his arm around the 2 other deep gnomes who just kind of, like, crouch under and away from him.
Yeah. Okay. Whichever one of you brings me the key and gets me out of these cuffs.
And then
I
Jim
will
Jar says,
personally make
"Ah,
sure it doesn't die."
come on, 5 gold pieces. Let's make it even more interesting. I mean, life and death, but we're already in that situation. Let's spice it up."
10 gold.
10, alright.
Whoever gets me out.
Oh, to whomever.
Taking language cues from the orc, I see.
And actually, Rot grunts approvingly, which apparently is like the only pedantic rule of grammar that he knows, is when to say whom.
I was about to say.
Right. He knows when to say whom, and
Spent
he's
all
proud
his
of it.
intellect on that.
So, alright, so now you have the Deep Gnomes attempting to get some keys from the guards in the guard tower.
Mm-hmm.
Any other plans? So, Bria, you do know that at least your lyre is being held in that stalactite that you aren't normally allowed in.
Yeah.
So it's possible that at the very least you could get your lyre back, and it might be that other things are being held in there.
Yeah, that's the other place they should sneak into.
Well,
I
you
think.
won't have an infinite amount of time, so it might needs be that someone else sneaks in.
I'm not very sneaky, but I think it's worth a shot.
Okay, does anyone want to help her?
Well, I think the three gnomes should kind of go to get the equipment since there's three of them.
So you want them to go with Bria, or do you want just them to go in and get the equipment and everyone else can try to get keys?
Well, the little sneaking bet is between the three gnomes and Jim Jam, or Jim Jar, right?
Well, Jimjar is one of the gnomes. The other person in this
he's-
bet is Gendrick.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, it only really takes one to steal like a key, because I'm assuming that each of our fetters or manacles or whatever are not like specifically different from one another.
It seems unlikely, but you don't know for certain.
True. Well, it only takes one to steal one key, but it takes a bit, like a few more to steal a bunch of equipment.
Okay. Oh, and as a reminder to the chat, follows and subscriptions get advantage on rolls. So if you want to see these people succeed, feel free to follow or subscribe to my Twitch channel. And of course, by these people, I mean the PCs. Alright, so right now it's looking like what? Just Jimjar is going to go and try to get a key from the guards?
I mean, potentially, yeah, I guess.
Alright, and then the other two gnomes are going to help Bria try to break in to the stalactite that's kind of the top secret stalactite.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, what's everyone else doing?
Well, I'm definitely not going to sneak anywhere because I am a dwarf, and not.
Yeah, I'm waiting because I am one of the least sneaky people ever.
I'm also not.
Oh, look at that! Is it Lathe83 has subscribed, or sorry, has followed. So, the next D20 roll that the PCs get will be at advantage, and thank you very much for the follow. I really do appreciate it.
Huzzah!
Thank you very much. And feel free to I assume it's, type out how you pronounce it more carefully, because I don't know. But, yeah, so, that's the plan. And everyone else is just waiting in the cage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Alright, so,
Best case scenario, if I try to sneak away, is I get knocked unconscious.
alright. So, it has been quite a while since you were given your food, and you do know that after the food comes a fairly long break before work. It may be time for long rests,
Nice.
which will, of course, restore our injured parties back to full health.
Yay!
Okay. Which includes Ront.
Oh, that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ronth and Prince Darendil are probably your best combatants, other than the PCs.
Sounds like a plan.
So yeah, whether or not Prince Darendil is in fact a elf prince, as he says he is, at the very least, he is burly, big, and has fangs and claws.
Which sounds strangely a lot like me.
Well, not right now. All right.
Just wait till I'm not bound up.
So, Shur comes, the handsome drow who is currently the favorite of Princess Ilvara. And he says, after your long rest, and he says, all right, work detail. And, oh, hey, my Nightbot is working, so hooray! But, so you all get assigned to various things, and, actually, subject to my disapproval, I'll let each of you decide what you get assigned. So let's start with, Gror. Or how is it? Is it Gror? Gror? Gror?
I just assume Gror.
Gror?
Yeah, why not?
Alright, get me the IPA later. By which I mean either the International Phonetic Alphabet or an Indian Pale Ale. I'll take either.
Ugh. I hate IPAs. They're so gross. What are my options for this?
So there's clearing out the, basically dumping the chamber pots down into the water below this outpost. There's cooking. There's scrubbing various rooms. There's stacking boxes in the kitchen area. Basically, anything that an untrusted slave would be allowed to do, you can choose to do.
I don't know why, but I'm strangely attracted to the idea of scrubbing floors right now.
Alright, where are you going to scrub floors? You can choose a number, and as long as I say it's okay, you can scrub the floors there.
Oh, I get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Or how many... Or should we let the dice decide?
I mean, you can. It's... I mean, there are 14 options, so I don't know what you'd roll. A D14, is that a thing? Does D20 allow you to roll a D14? Let's find out. Roll 1D14.
Roll 20, but you roll anything you want.
It does let us roll a 1D14, so yeah.
You can put any number there.
By the way, Bjorn, I've been told to kill you because you blasphemed the IPA. I am probably not going to do that because it is in fact harsh, and yeah. But thank you for the interaction, chat room. Chat room makes it much more fun.
IPAs are so bad.
Why should Burr die already?
For blaspheming the IPA.
Oh.
Which I assume in this
Oh,
case is
fair.
Indian Pale Ale, and not the International Phonetic Alphabet, because I'm apparently the only person in the world who knows what that is. So, roll the 1d14, and let's see what...
I'll risk my character's life to stand against the IPAs, but I will let the fates decide where I go.
Alright, roll that 1d14, and if it's one of the unallowed areas, I'll have you roll again.
'Cause,
9. Where is 9? That is the waterfall, so roll again.
I will clean the waterfall.
You do not get to clean the waterfall. Alright, 11, it turns out,
That
is in
my own
fact
room.
the slave pen. So you are stuck scrubbing the floors and the walls in the slave pen.
Alright, that's great
Alright.
for me.
So,
That's so helpful.
let's go on to Gendrick. What is your assignment for the day?
Manual labor.
What kind?
Breaking rocks.
Well, that's
If that's a job.
not really. This isn't a military prison.
I figure that's... Well, I mean... They need stuff hammered, probably.
Yeah,
I can hit things with a hammer.
so you've been here for a while, and it does seem like the rock work is pretty good. So basically, you can choose to clean or cook or empty chamber pots. And if you choose to clean, then you can randomly determine where.
Yeah, I'll just clean.
Okay?
keyboard. I need to knock now.
Oh, there he goes. So while he's working on that, and somewhat disconnected, Bria,
No,
what are you up to?
Out of what options?
So you can cook, you can clean, or you can stack boxes.
I'll lift things up and put them down.
Alright. So you head off to Area 3, which is the common room, and you are off stacking boxes day in and day out. However, the guards are pretty close to you, since, well, you are at least a half-elf, and they're probably not getting a whole lot. So if you like, you could try a sleight of hand to grab a key. You have advantage thanks to a recent follow.
Okay. I think I will give them a shot.
So to do an advantage roll, just slash roll 2d20 K1 for keep 1, and then plus your dexterity or your sleight of hand, which I think you actually have. Yeah, it's plus 5.
Wait, 2d20 K1?
Yeah, so that will keep the higher of the two rolls.
Okay. Are those like all at once or a space in between the 20 and the
Yeah,
K1?
so once you get to the 2d20, then all that is just one long string, no spaces.
Gotcha. And then...
And your modifier is plus 5 on this one.
Is it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
boom.
Wow. So you managed to pull out from inside one of their belts as you accidentally bump into them a small key
Right.
that looks like it would fit into the manacles.
Okay. Which one?
Well, all the manacles
All of them?
have identically sized holes.
Okay. What's in the boxes, by the way?
Well, they're labeled in Elvish, and most of them have labels like mushroom or grain or spices. Very boring labels.
I see.
All right,
So I stashed the key away.
all right. Where we won't ask. Right. So we're going to go back to Gendrick. Gendrick, get that D14 for me. Alright, so where is 13? Alright, so you are set to sweep up one of the guard rooms.
Oh,
And you notice while you're in there, by the way, it's this northernmost guard room, that that this room, in fact, has a rack of short swords and a few spare chainmail shirts, which could fit a medium creature.
are there drow in
Finest
here?
sleight of hand
There-
in a chainmail shirt.
There are drow in there.
I'll sneak it out under my loincloth.
Yeah, that probably
You'll
won't
never
work.
notice.
However, on your way out, it might be a valid option. Or it might not. So unless you're going to try and
So
sneak it
there
out now.
are drow here?
Yeah, so there's 2 drow who are stationed there, and there's another drow who's kind of your guard for the work detail. So you could try a 3-on-1 brawl.
Yeah, I am debating it right now because Kendrick's dumb as shit. He might see the sword and just go for it.
Well, he's
Yeah.
dumb, but he's not. Well, yeah, he's intelligence 10. That's average intelligence.
But
Like, it's higher than my intelligence.
Right.
I'm
So
just gonna. I have one of my dice over here. 1 second.
intelligence 10 is average human intelligence. So don't underestimate yourself.
Yeah, but how many times have you ever let a player use less than, like, 8 intelligence on a character? 10 is basically retarded. Okay, yeah, no. I'll just do my work and leave.
Alright, so you all get back. And, Bria?
I never left.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Are you going to unshackle everyone?
Is it time for the plan to commence?
Well, it was in fact Jorlan who put you back, and he did not lock the gate.
Ah, alright then. I unshackle everyone.
Alright. As you do, you hear a horrible screeching sound, and a bell goes off in one of the guard towers, and you can't tell which one, because, you know, the echoey nature of the cavern. And that
I quickly unlock everyone.
that is where we will leave it for tonight. So, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for playing to Bjorn, Doug, and Brittany. Tune in next time at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Central, 4:30 Mountain,
Yep.
3:30 Pacific, you know, time zones. And we will continue with Out of the Abyss from Green Ronin and Wizards of the Coast. Please check out DM Tim on Facebook. That's facebook.com/DMTimStreaming. And give us a like and follow. And yeah, this will also be up on YouTube shortly. The link will be on the Facebook page. So, thank you very much, and say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Alright, talk to you later. Thanks for